Picture this, a city made of stone, built on a knife-edge ridge way up high in the Andes Mountains, and hidden from the world for centuries. This is Machu Picchu. And it's not just some ruin. It's a perfectly engineered marvel, designed to thrive in a place that seems, well, impossible. So today we're going to break down the incredible genius that made this city a reality.
And you know, this quote from a modern civil engineer, Ken Wright, really just nails it. He spent years studying the site, and his conclusion was that Machu Picchu isn't just a collection of cool tricks. No, it's one single, integrated masterpiece, where every single piece works in perfect harmony with everything else.
Okay, so this is the real head-scratcher. The Incas, under Emperor Pachacuti, built this city back in the 1400s. But think about what they didn't have. They had no iron or steel tools, no mortar to hold the stones together, and get this, not even the wheel to move these massive blocks. So, how in the world was this even possible?
All right, so to get to the bottom of this, here's our game plan. We're going to explore how the Incas solved one incredible challenge after another. We'll look at how they literally tamed the mountain, how they defied the brutal elements, how they built a city aligned with the cosmos, and finally, what kind of legacy they left behind in stone.
Okay, first up, taming the mountain. I mean, you just have to look at where Machu Picchu is. It sits on this ridiculously steep ridge. It's beautiful for sure, but an unbelievably dangerous place to build a city. The Incas had to conquer the very ground beneath their feet before they could lay a single stone. So the first and most fundamental question for any engineer looking at this site would be, how do you stop your entire city from just sliding off the mountain? I mean, this region gets hit with torrential rain, and landslides are a constant danger. One mistake, and the whole thing could have just washed away.
And this brings us to their first stroke of absolute genius, the agricultural terraces, known as andenes. You see them in every single photo of Machu Picchu, but there's so much more than just pretty mountain gardens. They are, quite literally, the foundation of the entire city.
See, these weren't just simple garden beds. They were an incredibly sophisticated, multi-layered system designed for stability. At the very bottom, they laid down a base of large rocks for good drainage. On top of that, a layer of smaller rocks and gravel. Then came a layer of sand to filter the water, and only then, finally, the rich topsoil for farming. This whole setup didn't just let them grow food. It anchored the entire mountainside, stopping erosion and creating the stable platform they needed for the city above.
So, okay, they figured out how to stop the city from sliding away. But that was just one piece of the puzzle. They also had to defy the elements, and in this part of the world, that meant facing two of nature's most powerful forces: unbelievable amounts of rain and constant earthquakes.
And we're talking about two massive threats here. First, the area gets nearly 2,000 millimeters of rain every year. That is a ton of water that has to go somewhere. And second, the city is sitting right in the middle of a very active seismic zone. They needed answers for both.
For all that water, their solution was basically a citywide plumbing system that's just masterful. They built a main canal, almost 750 meters long, that captured fresh water from a spring and carried it into the city on a perfect, gentle slope. This one canal fed a series of 16 public fountains, giving everyone easy access to fresh water.
And get this, to handle all the excess rainwater from those downpours, they built something like 130 drainage outlets right in the city's center. These would channel all that runoff from the streets and plazas safely away down into the terraces below. It was a perfectly integrated system that stopped any chance of flooding.
Okay, so water's handled. But what about earthquakes? Well, this is where their thinking gets just revolutionary. Instead of building rigid, heavy walls to try and fight against a quake, they designed their buildings to be flexible, to literally move with the seismic waves, and then just settle right back into place.
Think about a normal brick wall, right? It's rigid. When an earthquake hits, it cracks and crumbles. But the Inca walls, totally different. They're built tilting slightly inward, in a trapezoid shape, and the stones are mortarless and interlock perfectly. So during a quake, the stones can literally dance. They jiggle and move to absorb the energy before settling right back where they started. Incredible.
This amazing technique is known as ashlar masonry. We're talking about stones, some weighing several tons, that were carved and polished so precisely they fit together like a 3D puzzle. The joints are so tight, it's famous for this, that you can't even slip a knife blade between them. It's just mind-boggling precision, and it's what made the whole earthquake-proof design work. But here's what really takes Machu Picchu to another level. The engineering wasn't just about surviving on Earth. It was about connecting with the heavens. The entire city was built to align with their spiritual beliefs and the celestial world. And that's a whole different kind of engineering challenge, isn't it? It's not about physics and hydrology anymore. It's about purpose. It's about cosmology. How do you make stone and water reflect the movements of the sun, the moon, and the stars?
A great example of this is the incredible Intihuatana stone. Its name translates to the hitching post of the sun. How cool is that? This beautifully carved pillar was essentially a cosmic clock. By tracking its shadows, Inca priests could pinpoint the solstices and equinoxes, which were crucial for their rituals and for their agricultural calendar.
But the real showstopper, the absolute pinnacle of this celestial engineering, has to be the Temple of the Sun. This wasn't just some building for worship, it was a functioning astronomical observatory, and it was built with unbelievable precision.
The alignment here is just wow. Okay, so the temple has this unique curved wall, which is super rare for the Incas, and one very specific window. And on the morning of the June solstice, the day the sun is at its highest point in the sky, bam! The sun rises and shines a beam of light directly through that window, perfectly illuminating a sacred granite stone inside. It's engineering in service of the sacred.
All right, so let's pull all these threads together. Because after all this incredible work, this masterpiece of a city was eventually abandoned, left to the jungle, creating a legacy in stone that waited hundreds of years to be rediscovered.
So they start building around 1450, but not even 100 years later, it's abandoned, most likely because of the chaos that came with the Spanish conquest. It was basically lost to the outside world until 1911, when the American explorer Hiram Bingham brought it to international attention. And from there, it became the global icon and UNESCO World Heritage Site we know today.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's the enduring genius of the Incas. This wasn't engineering designed to dominate or conquer nature. It was about working with it, in harmony. It was sustainable. We're still studying their water and soil management techniques. And it was resilient, with buildings made to last for centuries by literally dancing with the earth.
And that really leaves us with a big question for our own time, doesn't it? In an age where we're facing all sorts of environmental challenges, what can this incredible 500-year-old city teach us about building a better future, about living in real harmony with our environment? That, right there, might just be Machu Picchu's greatest legacy.